Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'll be taking a look at Scream, the game. It comes with this half a knife, so you know it's going to be a good game. But I'll go over the rules and let you know what I think of it. Yeah, this is it. Scream, the game. Your goal is to survive Ghostface, whoever that may be. The setup is really simple, and the game doesn't take a lot of time to play. I will say it does require a phone app that I'm not going to demo here because I'm recording on my phone. But the setup is pretty basic. You have two types of cards. You've got scene cards and item cards. So the item cards, each one has just a simple item. They're called Scream cards. And then the scenes give us a location, or they give you a location and certain items. So what you do during the game, you try to collect the items shown on the card, and if you get them, you discard the scene and draw another one. You win when you've gone through all the scene cards. So for the setup, you want to put the board in a place where everybody can reach it. Assemble a half a knife. The knife is only there to show you whose turn it is. So you just put it aside and you take your little miniature here, which is a pretty good quality one. But, you know, Funko always does have pretty good quality miniatures. Just put that aside. It will be used later. Get rid of the box. Take the Scream cards. They're shuffled, but, you know, and put them at a location where everyone can reach them. We'll just put them right there for now. And actually, let's see. I'll put them up here because I'm going to kind of try to demo a setup. And then you take the Scream cards. So this can be done, or the scene cards. This can be a game for 3 to 8 players. So the cards either have a little number at the bottom or they don't. If they don't, there's some that don't. Take the ones that don't have a little number. Those are used in all of the games. Okay, there. I must have already had them sorted out. Okay, so those are for a 3-player game if they don't have a little number. And then the little number on the other one, if it's a 4, that's for a 4-player game. If it's a 5, you take all of the 4s and all the 5s. In a 6-player game, you would take all the 6, 5, and 4s. Likewise, a 7-player game, you would take all the 7s, 6s, 5s, and 4s. And in an 8-player game, you would take the whole deck. There's an 8. But I'm just setting up a 3-player game, so these cards are not used. They go back in the box. You shuffle them up. Every player is dealt 1 scene card. We'll just kind of put the cards around the table, pretend there's other players here. And then this is put at a place where they can all draw. And every player is dealt 3 Scream cards. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. And 1, 2, 3. So that's how a 3-player game would be set up. You pick a player who's going to be player 1, and you go clockwise. So we'll just say player 1 is here. So when you're ready to play, you're going to start the app, and I'll go over the app in a second, but everyone will turn over their scene card so everybody knows what location they're in. Whoops, I knocked over the knife. And what items they need to clear that scene. So let's say I'm player 1 over here. I'm in the high school, and I need those 4 items to defeat that scene. I get those 4 items, I discard them. This goes to the scene discard pile, and I draw another scene. It is a cooperative game, but you still keep your card hidden. You can say what you have because you'll work together to try to complete your scenes, and you can trade, but that's pretty much the setup. So you play the app, and the app will go over how you lose. But first I'll say what you can do on your turn. On your turn, you can either draw a card, that would go like this, or you can trade. So I could say, I need a popcorn. Does anybody have a popcorn? Somebody else could look at their hand. Player 3 over here would say, yeah, I have a popcorn. We'd trade. Player 3 would give me the popcorn. I don't need 2 bloods, so I would give player 3 a blood. Or the other thing you can do on your turn is discard complete a scene. So if you complete a scene, you have to have all 4, you discard them, and the scene goes to the discard, as I said. And then that's it. You take your 1 action per turn, and then you pass the knife. So player 1 has the knife, they finish their turn, pass it over to player 2. Player 2 does the same thing, and you circle around. So you circle around like that until all the scenes are defeated, and then you win the game. But you're wondering, shouldn't there be some sort of challenge to this? And I'll say, yes, there is, and that's where the app comes into play. So the app is what will determine whether you live or die. So while you're drawing your cards and trading your cards and going around the circle trying to complete your scenes to win the game, you'll have your phone sitting right next to you, and the app will occasionally call you. And it'll be Ghostface calling you, and you'll have one of 3 challenges. He'll either give you a location, so he'll say something about the high school, so then you would put him in the high school. Oh, and I should say, whenever the phone rings, play stops, regardless of where you are. And that's why we have the knife, so that you remember whose turn it is, because when Ghostface calls, everybody starts talking, and things can get a little chaotic. So you know whoever has the knife is the current player, and they finish their turn after the call's done. But so one option is he'll give you, or she, right? Ghostface, lots of identities, will give you a location and then say you better have the item when he calls back. And then the game will go for 30 seconds or minute or whatever, and he'll call back and he'll say, do you have a whatever, let's say a popcorn? And if you have a popcorn, you discard the popcorn. If you don't, you discard your entire hand, and then you go back to playing. The other option he'll do is he'll say somebody who has his face. So some of the cards have his face on them, and some of them don't. So if you have 3 cards with his face on it, when he says that, you discard your hand. No callback or anything. He just says you have that. Any player who has that discards their hand. So you're sort of on an honor system with that too. But that's the other thing. And then the final option, and this is the one that can kill you, he'll name a player. So on the app you put in your player names, so it'll flash up the name of the player. So like if it's me, it'd be Jason, and it'd pop up Jason, I'm calling. So I answer the phone, I put the little miniature right by me, and he'll say, Jason, you need to get, and he'll say certain objects. So he might say like, I need to get 3 stab DVDs. You better have them by the time I call back. And then he'll call back again in 30 seconds or a minute or whatever. So then you have until he comes back to get those items. So then that's when you like got to go speed demon. It's like, oh, I have one of these. My turn. Does anybody have another stab DVD? And somebody says yes, we'll trade. Or it'll be player number 2's turn. They'll say I have they don't. Is this one? Okay, well, let's just pretend. So player 3 would be like, I have a stab CD, I'll trade you. And then you want to get all 3 of whatever item he says before he calls back. If he calls back and you don't have the items he names on the call, then you die. And when you die, you lose the game. So that's one way that you lose the game. If Ghostface calls, names you the 3 items, you have until he calls back to get them. You don't get them, you die. And then the final way to lose the game is it just has a random, I think it's random, it has a timer, and eventually the app will start spitting out a timer. And then that is it. If you run out of time, you die. Let's grab the instruction book. There's something else about the app. Let's see if it shows a picture of the app, actually. It does not, but that's okay. The app does have one. Here's where you can get the app. The app also has an option for difficulty and language. Does it say here how they word it? I don't know if it does. But difficulty just makes it so that he'll call more often. And you might have less time to win the game too on the hard. But you can either do medium or difficult or hard, I think. And then the other option on the app is the language choice. You can have it PG or kind of R-rated. The R-rated, I forget what they called it. And I still don't know if it actually says there. I wanted to look, but the more, oh, that's how to win. Well, that's okay. It doesn't matter. The one where he talks a little more about killing you and gutting you and a little more violent language than just, I'm going to get you. It's going to be, I'm going to kill you. But anyhow, that is it. You just go around the circle like that. You play as fast as you can, especially after Ghostface calls and says you need to get these items. You got to go fast and make sure you get those items. Never forget to pass the knife around, or you forget whose turn it is and then it gets weird. And I've played this kind of cheating with my kids where we just left our cards out so we could all see them, and that was just way too easy because you would just like trade without even asking each other and stuff. But when you have to like actually keep your cards hidden and keep them so people can't see them, and you have to like ask to trade, that slows it down a little bit and makes it a little more challenging. But it is fun. It's a good Halloween game. My only complaint, I don't like these games. Well, I don't want to say I don't like, but I worry about these games that depend solely on an app because, eventually the app might not be made anymore or compatible with newer phones, and then the game's useless. And a lot of these games lately require an app. So that's one complaint. I thought I had another complaint. Well, whatever it was, I lost it. It is a fun game. It's a fast game, too, so that's a good thing. Oh, I know the other complaint. 3 to 8 players. Honestly, I don't know why you couldn't do this with 2 players. I should try a 2-player variant and maybe just have a few extra cards or something, because you can't always get 3 people together, right? And sometimes it makes sense that a game has to be 3 players. This one, I don't think it does. But anyhow, that's it for my thoughts on the game. It is fun. If you can find it cheap before Halloween, I'd say pick it up and play it if you like, especially if you like Scream, which I do love the Scream movies. That first one is almost a work of art. But that will do it for this video. I'll be back soon with another. So until then, thanks for watching and have a great October.